It was through my brother, actually. I don't exactly know how or why, but we were sat in his car, and there was a very definite air of mystique about the whole thing. It was like he wanted to tell me something, he wouldn't quite say what it was, and over a period of about 20 minutes he finally revealed that it was like he'd been in Sunderland and he got routed into this place, and he'd done a personality test, and he bought a book, and he got some auditing. When you first hear the term, you have no idea what it means. And then he finally mentioned that he had this book, and I think he gave me a copy and said, go and read the book, go and read the book. So he was well hooked at that time. But I didn't go straight away to the org. I was married at the time, and my ex-wife went over. I don't even know how that happened, but somehow she went to Sunderland and bought... Did she buy auditing? Is auditing an okay term to use? Okay, so she bought auditing, and then maybe 2 or 3 weeks later I had to go and collect her from Sunderland. And I kind of like walked in, and everyone was like really friendly and nice. You know, hi, oh, you're Sandy's husband. Oh yeah, come in. Why don't we do a personality test? Yeah, sure, why not, you know? So I did, and then it was like, oh, yeah, you need to get 5 hours of auditing, you know, because like, this shows here that you're this, and I suppose it could be, you know. I was quite kind of go along with the whole thing, because when your brother's in it, your wife's in it, it can't be that bad. Everyone seems so friendly and nice. What could be wrong, you know, what could possibly be wrong with this? Although, in retrospect, there were definitely alarm bells ringing, because it was just too good to be true almost, you know. So I paid in for like 5 hours introductory auditing at a rate of $34.50, and interestingly enough, the money I used to pay was actually the mortgage payment, and I was persuaded to part with that because once I'd had the auditing, the mortgage would take care of itself almost. I mean, that was actually never said, but it was kind of implied that auditing, as you freed up your abilities, money wouldn't be a problem. Excuse me. Money wouldn't be a problem. Because, you know, you'd have this extra ability to make money. So the mortgage payment was nothing. Of course, it's something. You know, if you don't keep up payments on this property, you could lose it. And that's what they tell you. So, I mean, it was something. And I was persuaded, and I actually did part with the mortgage payment. So that was kind of a bad start, really. And that wouldn't be unusual. I've heard other people say very similar things to that. So that's how I got in. The auditing was kind of okay. It didn't take very long to run out of things to audit, so I kind of like went diving down a strange track, and that was kind of weird for someone who had no knowledge of Scientology whatsoever. I'm not going to go into details there because it's like kind of not necessary, but that's how I got in. And then you reach a point where, oh yeah, then it was like a case of like that's auditing or processing, and then there's the other side, which is like the training. So yeah, you need to do a communication course. I think I paid for that as well. That was also $34.50. This is back in 1986 or 87. So that's kind of a lot of money. $34.50 would be, what was the wage? My wage was around £200. So actually it wasn't too bad. It was less than a quarter of the weekly wage. So the equivalent today would be, what, I don't know, whatever people are on.
€100, let's say.
Something, 100, 150, whatever. So I'd done the communication course, and like a lot of people who did it, you do find that there's an increase in your ability to communicate. You do find that there's an increase in your ability to confront. And I think this is like probably one of the most sinister things about the whole cult, is that you do have wins. So you do say to yourself, yeah, this is good, this is okay. And you don't come across anything bad, and you don't hear anything bad. So you don't suspect a thing. You're on a kind of a conveyor belt, if you like, you know. And there's a definite set process that you actually follow. So you go along on that. So I did the communication course, and again, you know, it was great, you know. So, and then we were called over, or we were over there one time, and when you complete one course, you attest to say that you've completed it, and you're asked that question. Would you like other people to have the knowledge or gains that you now have? And you go, yeah. And then you go to the registrar where you sign up for your next course. And that is the procedure. You don't get out of there until you've signed up for the next course, one way or the other. There's all kinds of mad shit goes on at that point. You can be escorted to a cash machine by someone while you take the money out of the ATM and pay that way. I've even seen a blank piece of paper being, just blank piece of paper, draw it up like it was a check. What's the name of your bank? And like date and like promise to pay. And I've actually seen that taken off people. I think it might have been taken off me, I can't remember exactly. Because I didn't have a checkbook anyway, but anyway, that's sort of thing. So from there, I don't know, we had an interview with the executive director. Can I mention names or what? Like, okay, his name was Derek Craggs. And I remember him saying, he didn't actually ask me even though I was there, but he asked my wife at the time, how much money is he used to getting? And she said about 200 a week. And he went, yeah, that should be okay. So what was being discussed here was the possibility of, okay, you can't afford auditing and you can't afford training, but you want to go clear and blah, blah, blah. So the way to do it is to join staff so you can help other people to go free at the same time as you get your own training and processing on staff. You know, it's like a freebie. That seemed like a great idea, obviously. And we agreed to do it. And we agreed simply because we were guaranteed 200 quid a week, which in retrospect is a complete and utter joke, because I doubt that I got 200 quid in the whole 3 years I was there. Certainly the top pay was £32, and the bottom would be about 3. No, the bottom was actually 0. There were actually like 6 weeks to 2 months with no pay whatsoever. And like you try and like pay your rent and buy your food on nothing. It's impossible. You can't do it. So that went on. But we joined staff. The two of us joined staff for the simple reason was we wanted to like benefit from this wonderful technology that was being offered. And we also thought it was a good thing to do, to help people, you know, to go free. I don't even think we'd heard of Clear the Planet at this stage, so that was like kind of a thing that came later. So yeah, like straight away, like within 2 or 3 weeks of joining staff, which was a big heave, like we kind of moved across from one side of the country to the other and packed a load of stuff and blah, and we thought everything was going to be wonderful. We should have realised really when it was like the first payday when I think we got 2 quid, you know. But then it was suggested that I go to St Hill for training. Organisation executive course is the name of it, where it's like, I don't know, 6 weeks or a year or something away. And they decided it would be a good idea to send me away for that. And I was just like totally gung-ho with the whole thing. Like, yeah, let's go and do that. You know, that sounds great. So I got the overnight bus and went to St Hill. That was kind of weird, really. The impression I got, like travelling to St Hill, was that every single person on the train was a Scientologist going to St Hill. But the actuality was that I was the only one. And I kind of should have realised something there. And then when I got there, again, individual Scientologists are all very friendly and nice. And, you know, you don't see bad stuff, you know, on the surface of it. So that was okay. I kind of got fixed up with accommodation fairly quickly. I don't remember who or with whom. Straight away there was a problem like eating, because I left the org with a, you know, whatever it was, pay, nothing, or £3 or £4, I forget. They managed to pay for the bus fare to send me down, okay, so that was one thing. But like eating was a big problem. So I don't know how I overcame that actually. I actually can't remember how I got by. There must have been something. Maybe I had cash, I'm not too sure. Maybe I had savings or something. But anyway, after about 4 weeks, my wife came and joined me. And she went doing one particular course and I was doing another one. For a while we were both in the academy. Well, before I went I had to do the student hat, so like we rattled that one off fairly quickly. And that was my first introduction to like KSW, you know. KSW. Okay. I could have gone off on a tangent there, but I won't. So basically, you're at St Hill, you're on course. You're on course certainly 14 hours a day, okay? You start at like, was it 9 or 10? I don't recall exactly. then there's a break, and then you have lunch, and then there's a break, and then you go home for your tea, which is an hour, and then you're back on course again at 7. So it was definitely a long day of studying that crap, you know, really. I have to say that.